Hi everyone, it's Dan from Team Intangible, and in this video, we're going to discuss how sometimes further context is needed for score alignment of clutch factor scores. We've touched on in our previous videos about how clutch factor scores are scored and also calculated, and also basic understanding on how to use them as a coach. But what we haven't touched upon yet is that sometimes further context is needed to get a better understanding of what scores actually mean for certain types of players, because not every player will line up specifically with their scores to the nth degree. And this is where it gets really interesting, because what happens when you take your clutch factor scores, you turn it and combine it with traditional stats, it reveals four very distinct types of performers. And this chart just lays it all out perfectly. On one axis, you've got your traditional stats, either good or bad. And on the other, you have the clutch factor score, high or low. This simple grid gives us four player profiles: the consistent star, the streaky performer, the unfulfilled potential, and the struggler. Let's start with the extreme cases, because they're the easiest to spot. Up in that top corner, you have your true clutch performer: positive stats, high clutch score. This is the athlete who is just consistent across the board. Then in the opposite corner, you've got the struggler, a poor stats and poor clutch score player. This suggests they're battling issues both on the physical and mental fronts. And sometimes this can even point to deeper issues like the yips in baseball. Okay, now the other two profiles is where it gets fascinating. What about the athlete with amazing skills, great stats, but has a poor clutch factor score? Well, that's a player who has true unfulfilled potential. Someone who looks absolutely incredible in practice and parlays it somewhat into a game, but just cannot seem to deliver in big moments. And the flip side, the player with a high clutch factor score, but kind of weaker statistics, this is a streaky performer. Their mental game is stronger than their physical one, which leads to flashes of brilliance mixed in with some frustrating slumps. But here's the thing: these four profiles, they're not permanent labels. They can change over time. The score is just a piece of data, and it only really makes sense when you look at the whole picture. Context is absolutely everything. So, just how much can context matter? Check out this number: 15% average. That's the typical drop we see in scores with athletes right after they come back from a major injury. Now, physical recovery is one battle, but this shows there's a measurable mental hurdle that players have to clear. In that insight, it has huge implications. It suggests that clutch factor scores could be used in return to play protocols to see if an athlete is truly mentally ready to be back in their sport. And an injury isn't the only thing. Think about dual sport athletes. A player's clutch score on a football field might be totally different than on a basketball court. It could show that their mental wiring is just better suited for the pressure of one sport over another. So, why does this all matter? Well, it's not just about slapping labels on players. It's about giving coaches and even the athletes themselves a whole new tool for unlocking true potential. For a coach, this is a game changer. It gives them a much deeper understanding of their roster. It helps them see who might need a different kind of coaching, who might actually thrive with more responsibility, and who might need some support to build up their mental resilience. It's basically a roadmap at building a mentally tougher team. That's it for this video, and in our next video, we'll discuss how intangible assessments and clutch factor scores can be used for talent identification purposes.